Hey guys, hey Chris from Hey Radio 3, and I just want to do a short little video as to where you should be and what we are expecting right now from you as we are have reached actually the mid, I say I was going to say mid guard. I've watched too much Thor, so the middle of our F3 practical on air. So a couple of things that, by now you should also have a little bit of a checklist to know that for yourself, as your lecturers have been guiding you in I would say the semantics and basics, the necessary of doing a really good radio show. For example, with your dead air and the way that you execute news and being on time and making sure that you're not cutting off songs and that your content is balanced in terms of what we need from you and that your music playlist is solid and sweet, and that also that that you have accountability for a real audience is where we want you to sit at and understand that we do not want you to make any more mistakes. So that you're going to be like, oh, but this guy is crazy. I am kind of crazy in different ways, but not in this. And I'll tell you something. It's something that I've started to uh, use as an anecdote as I've been snooping this particular week in our fourth week of being on air. Um, and I had this wonderful, I had this one particular wonderful boss, a programming manager of mine, and she was so awesome. And particularly at that point, like I was producing for Ryan Seacrest, right? So we were doing that show, a lot of syndication stuff. There was a lot of technical stuff to learn. Like the beginning was super difficult because there were just so many moving parts, whatever it is, right? And after that, every time after all new problems, right? Were like I'd encountered them particularly and I solved them both, whether it was content wise, whether it was technical, whether it was like broadcast, it didn't matter. She said to me, Chris, I was like, yes. And she said to me, you can never make another mistake again. And I was like, that's impossible. That's truly impossible. And she said, no, it's not. Because the thing is that you've made the mistakes already before. And so if you do it again, it's blatantly telling me that you're being ignorant and you're not actually paying attention to the brand and product, which BMH Radio is a definite growth. And we are finding ourselves with a bigger and better product as every month and every year passes by. So you're responsible for that as well. Um, but also as a professional, like what excuse do I actually have? So why I say this is because at this point in your process of learning, you've made all the mistakes. All your lecturers have given you the semantics of exactly what you've been doing wrong and how to fix it. And the next step and the next three weeks that we have of broadcasting should now be about making the content, I mean, the context of that show absolutely perfection, right? In other words, do not make the mistakes that been making over and over, whether it, like I say, be a time thing or a news thing or um, whatever it may be. I'm not going to go through it again. I literally just did it again. We want you to grow now and be proactive and start to shine. So you use all the tools that you do have and you start working towards something that is substantially stand out and amazing, right? Something that the BMH radio brand and product can definitely set up, and we can set up alongside you and say, we're super proud of you and we're so happy that you have, um, you know, like gone this journey and shown us your best self, shown yourself your best self, eh? Hashtag living your best life, hashtag living your best you for you, right? Um, a couple of ways that you need to start thinking, just adjusting my legs most, yeah, is one, please. This has been a problem. So the thing of the concept of one-dimensional content and callouts is a thing that you would learn in first and second year and it would be acceptable because it would be a new thing. But in third year, you need to give it rich, like a rich dynamic of levels, So for example, again, because I don't want to say this over and over, and you can just check the video, you can watch it over and over again for the help. So let's say we're doing a call out, right? And again, ideally you want to balance yourself between, let's say socioeconomic, political, whatever it is, on the one side, current affairs, and the other side would be anecdotal, kind of light, whatever it is, or touching really, touching base with, the student's personal aspects of living as a student here at BMH and in 2022, right? Okay, so let's consider the call outs. The call outs can't be one dimensional. That means you can't take one article or one notion or one concept and then decide to run with that, because that is not how we do great radio. We find dimensions to it, especially because you are in a world of in like infinite amounts of opinions, left bias, centered, right bias, and just information in general. There is no way you can come in on a public platform as a trusted, a communicator, right, by an audience that understands that you have the right knowledge and the right perspective to give them information that they need on a daily basis with only reading one article. That makes no sense, right? So you would go and you would find multiple articles, multiple opinions, multiple facts to check that you are correct in what you are saying, right? You would add sound bites or things from YouTube, or you would see trending tweets, not trending hashtags, because that's boring, right? Like you would have to think out the box to make this really something that you are knowledgeable about, and that, in other words, if you had to, like, I suppose, not say everything and do everything now on one link or whatever it may be, but suppose you want to get a real caller. When I say a real caller, like in the real world, we hear it's premeditated, and we kind of like obviously understand that. But we want to get a caller. We want to be able to have a good conversation with them. Snap, man! Like I can speak to an expert professional within that context, or whatever it is, and I can have a justified, I can have a grounded and a solid foundation in what I know about the subject matter. I don't have to be an expert. That's why there are lawyers and there are doctors and there are whatever it is, like repo managers. Excuse thee. I was getting a little bit excited there, so some of the saliva came out too. Nah. Um, but you understand, we have those type of people. Our profession is to be a well-informed, well-rounded, an objective human being, communicator that relates to the audience on what they want to talk about, what they want to know, and want to enlighten them. So, for example, like I said, maybe you come across a YouTube video, like put the work in, man. Like it's easy, convert that to an MP3. Like there's so many sites that are available. Cut and edit the stuff. The stuff is not being edited. The voice notes are not being edited. The sound notes are not being edited. The voxes are not being edited. The pre-recorded interviews, if they are there, because they're not being that, I haven't seen any on our side that are consistent, right? Okay, like it needs to be there, like it needs to be edited by your producer, right? Um, and put out there, because we don't do that in the real world. So that is one aspect, is looking at just a simple content piece and making it come alive for real, not first year, not second year, but a third year and beyond level. Another thing that I did realize is that I'm liking the chances that, because here's where you can take chances, man. In other words, have the braveness, or be brave enough to take live interviews. Like control how you prep an interview with, excuse me, around, like through a template that you set for yourself. So a template that says, here's where the research, here's the context, here's the reasoning why we're speaking to this person. Like these are the line of question. This is the line of questioning I want to go through. Like, did it work? Didn't it work? As we do a self evaluation afterwards, so we can say which aspects did we like, which lessons learned. Like, is it better to pre-record the interview because we're scared of reception, or whatever it is? Like, you might be phoning on WhatsApp, it doesn't matter. But the thing is that we want to be able to control every single aspect that you now have made a mistake already in learning. right? So the producers have to be on point. When I say on point, like they need to know if there's an interview coming up in 15 minutes time, boom, like I need to make sure that that person is available. And that also, I'm not saying things like, are you there? Hi, Chris. Hi, Chris. Are you there? No, you literally had them on the PFL. You pre-faded them, like to check whether the caller was there, whether you could hear them, whether it was. It's like it's stuff that you must think of. No mistakes anymore. You're gonna say to me, man, once again, this guy's whatever it may be, right? But let me tell you something. When you aim for perfection, which you know is impossible. We don't want, like, perfection in life means that if you've reached perfection, like, you can't grow anymore. But if you reach for perfection, you will see very, very limited amount of controlled mistakes and errors that make your product um, not even marginal less great quality. Okay. Be proactive in finding content and opportunities where you're not just prepping for the day, like so I've got a show tomorrow. I'm only starting to prep now. When you come across things on campus, people talking, we have done some cool OBs now that started also. Like get in there and start getting some cool rocks and getting some video for social media and premeditate social media as a tool to use for, let's say, polls or whatever it may be that relate to the content you might be doing in a day or 2 or 3 days time, right? So there might be a whole bunch more that I'm forgetting, but my point here that will be consistent for you is if you manage quality control to be super high now of high quality third year material, like eggs strategy material, meaning in like 2 months' time after you graduate, you want to be working at a station and doing a great job with no mistakes, right? This you can apply to every aspect, like whether it's an original feature that you can walk home and say, that was so cool. I came up with a great idea and it wasn't done by anyone else. I used angles. I know how to do this. I spoke to these listeners with things that matter. Like you actually exhaust yourself with compliments. I love that. I love that. It's like best part about doing radio and I suppose media all these years was walking away and saying, damn, man, I did a good job. And that's what we want for you. That's what I want for you. So go out, use these next 2 weeks, and be great.